started here.
This meeting is being recorded.
She has to say that twice for some reason.
Megan won't be here?
Who?
Megan?
Michelle? Megan's here.
Oh, Megan is here. Oh, I didn't see her. Okay.
Yeah, she's hiding in her cave in Canada, right over there.
Oh, there she is. Hi, Megan.
So this is the water of life.
Yes, it is.
This is the water of Shiva. This is the blood of the Lord. This is the fountain of youth that people have been seeking their entire life, and they'll never find it unless they look within. And so this is just a metaphor for how things get revealed and truth gets known to people. Thank God we heard the call, and we know what this water is, and it's been a godsend for all of us. Not just us students here, but everybody in the worldwide family who have been embracing it. And that family keeps growing in leaps and bounds every day if you keep it up on social media. So bless you on your health, your happiness, your prosperity, your freedom, and anything else. Cheers.
Cheers.
And there's our gal, Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Hi everyone.
We just did our communion, so cheers.
So I've got a headache at the moment. So
You have a headache?
Yeah.
You got any Urine with you?
I think there's some on the side.
Yeah. Sniff some up your nose and put some on your temples.
Okay.
Unless you have synagogues and mosques. Put them right there and sniff them up the nose.
Okay, I'll go and do a sniff. I'll be back in a bit.
All right.
I can hear though.
Any insights or any concerns about what we went through last time we got together between last Thursday and today? Was there any insights, any discoveries, any disappointments around this practice?
Well, I did my first aged enema, and that was awesome. I couldn't believe how great they are. I felt totally cleaned out afterwards.
Mm-hmm. And were you surprised how much came out of you?
I was surprised. I was like, wow. It was, I knew that it was getting rid of some really, I don't know, who knows, bacteria, I don't know, but I felt a lot better afterwards. So I'm really glad that I had the courage to do that. Thank you, Crystal. You're the one that kind of encouraged me.
They're the best.
They are. I know.
The only thing that I'm like consistently do every day besides just drinking fresh. So I'm like, and from what I read from Monica, that's what she does consistently every day. And
really?
Yeah, like, because if we don't always do it topically, because I don't put it on my hair at all, and my hair is actually changing. Like it's like a deeper, more, I can't describe what it's happening to it, but it's growing like differently. And I don't even put it on my hair. So I know it's happening internally.
So is mine. I have new hair growth right up in here.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, huh? The changes. Yeah, but I didn't use all aged. I just use a cup of it with fresh.
Yeah, that's what I do. I think that's.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I have used all aged, but that you gotta don't ever do it before you're gonna go somewhere, because I made that mistake. And I went to the sauna, and then while I was in the sauna, I was like, this is a horrible idea. So
yeah. Thank you.
Stay home.
Make sure when you start doing enemas, you don't fall into the trap people get into about been there, done that. Try to figure out a regular schedule for yourself, like once a week, once a month, every day, or whatever it is, so that your body starts to build momentum in cleaning out your intestines.
I don't know about every day. It's a lot of work.
It gets easier and faster. And
is it? Okay.
You get so much. I mean, me and my fiance both do it every day, and I didn't ever think he would. And then I just was like, hey, for New Year's, I was like, can you just do it? Just try it for the month of January every day. And he agreed. And then now it's March, and I didn't you know, he just kept doing it on his own now. And he's just like, wow, I
Okay.
can't even remember what my life was like before this. Right. So it's like, you want to do it. At first, it kind of seems like a challenge. And at first you may be a little more detoxy, but then once you get used to it, it's like you want to do it. Like, that's all I can say. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, I wish I felt that way about showering, like I said, like, but I want to do this. Like, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, showering, there's a lot of, chemicals in the water anyway, so I don't feel like I need to shower every day.
I like that. Thank you. That's
yeah, exactly.
Vacation that I need.
Right.
Get your, Catherine, what's really helped me is to get your system down. So when I'm doing an enema, I know what goes on the floor, where to hang up the enema bag, how to lubricate the tip, where I'm going to sit and posture myself to get the best direction, when to get up and when to get down, and when you're done, it ain't over until you clean up the equipment in the bathroom.
Exactly. That's what takes time. Okay.
It does take a little time.
Okay, yeah, I'll get a routine down.
I can do 4 rounds in 45 minutes.
What? Took me 45 minutes for one.
Well, you see, you get better every time, and then, like I said, you build a system.
Okay.
And what does Megan say here? Have it stacked so that you have everything where you need it. Yes, she's not a novice.
All right. Get organized. Okay.
Get organized and put it in the same place so you can grab it in a heartbeat. And in case you're not doing regularly, but all of a sudden you have some kind of compaction in your intestines or migraine or whatever it is, and you know that enema is going to be your saving grace, you can put it all together a lot quicker.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Have you done the little implants or busties, as I've called them? Yeah.
I have done those, and it's not as big of a wham as the enema, but it's helpful. It just, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't get a lot of effect from it.
My feeling is it tonifies, like, because if you can't do an enema every day, you're still getting the aged, if you're using aged or fresh, doesn't matter, but you're getting it into that area. The tissue is being hydrated. All the things that are in it are being absorbed into the bloodstream really quickly. You're also tonifying the vagus nerve because it gets into the colon and it affects the vagus nerve. And so even 10 to 20 milliliters, not like a tiny, tiny little syringes every day, will keep tonifying everything. And as Crystal was saying, and Brother Sage was saying, it's that consistency.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I do every morning. I do a drink, and I put it on my face and neck, and snort it. I snort it every single morning because I totally feel a big difference in that. And and I was doing that, and then doing like a douche too, like putting it both in both orifices, and I did feel the difference in my female organs, like it was feeling better.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's not a pressure thing. It's like you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot of things. But
I'm doing a lot of things.
Yeah. And most people didn't add everything all at once. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel just like when I do it, I just like, I'm so much gratitude because I have this this knowledge now that I never had before.
Yeah. I was talking to someone this morning who said they woke up and today was like, oh, this like just heavy, and they weren't feeling great. And then they did all their urine protocols, and like mid-morning they went, why am I so mellow?
Yeah.
And then they made the mellow yellow joke. Then they made that.
That's a good mellow yellow. I know I wore mellow for the last day yellow for the last day today.
You look forward to it, and if you do it the right time of day, afterwards you're not hungry.
Yeah. And I got out my golden healer stones, is what this is called.
Bring it closer.
Golden.
Closer.
It's a golden. Can you see it?
Yeah.
There.
What material is it? Looks familiar.
I don't know. I don't know. But it's called a golden healer, and I really like it. I got it in Yucca Valley, the desert.
Well, let's knock out some questions and get some reading done because we only have Crystal for a limited time here.
Yeah, that's right.
Golden healer is quartz.
Oh, quartz. Okay.
Oh, that's
It's
a form of quartz?
It's a form of quartz, yeah.
Okay. We're so used to the clear crystal quartz. I got spoiled here. Page 201. We've got about 30, 40 pages left, and we'll see what we can get to today. Michelle, your certificate is in your email. Everybody got that?
I saw that. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Check your email, then you can print it and frame it and show your mom.
Okay, I will.
Or your partner, whatever you got. We're going to start on chapter 16, presenting your service professionally to the media. And in there is going to be some of the things that I've been using to get the media to play with me. And whether you go that route or not, at least you see it in print here. Whether you read this manual, were mentored by one of the UT master teachers, or felt intuitively that you're ready to become a UT teacher, the moment comes when you simply know you are a UT teacher. For the sake of this chapter, let's bless you. Let's move forward in time when you have guided or facilitated sessions as an amateur, that you feel ready to become a professional and let everyone know. Unless you're an MD practicing in California. That's a whole other story. Now would be the time to get prepared, create an online presence with a website, business cards, blog, social media page, and a YouTube type of platform. Marketing and promoting your services takes time, requires being proactive, and networking. One of the best ways to get known and gain the respect of readers and possible interest in clients is by writing and posting articles and producing videos with UT content that demonstrates your knowledge of the subject. Writing UT articles reveals your knowledge on the subject, and perhaps that you may need to do more research to sharpen your grasp of Urine therapy. And I'm constantly having to research because you new guys, the new folks that show up in the water community, have insights and discoveries I hadn't even heard of yet. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. Writing articles reveals your knowledge on the subject. The more you can post content on the dozens of UT Facebook groups, Telegram, Instagram, etc., the more you will get known and create a growing following, a number of followers. At one point in time, critical mass is reached and clients reach out and contact you. There is such a great need for UT teachers and therapists that you will have no problem manifesting clients and students. If anybody would like to have some of my extra overflow, let me know. In the last 3 days, I had 4 new people sign up for one class, 3 signed up for another class. One woman thought it was so important for her to learn this, she paid for her son and her friend. So you're in the right place, the right time.
Yeah, I have someone who's been taking a course with me who's now signed up with you.
Yeah,
so, great.
Who was that?
Sheena.
Oh, Sheena Michelle. She's in Ontario.
Yeah, maybe.
She's
no
in BC.
Yeah, BC.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, it's really fun. It's fun. People are finding this now.
Yeah. Well, we're hitting critical mass. I mean, I've been pumping this content out for the last 4 years. So we got to a point where, and each generation keeps talking more. And you're going to notice, Megan, how people hashtag you and do the @ symbol, connecting. I mean, I'm getting connections from all over the place. And people are quoting me. I'm going, okay, let's just keep doing this. Exciting. It did just that for me. Within the first month after my book was released, to 12 worldwide Amazon distribution regions and 8 radio interviews later, my UT career and mission with Shibamba went viral. Whether you announce or promote your UT service or not, be prepared for prospects or curiosity seekers seeking you and asking for help using Urine to heal themselves. Here's some proven promos that are currently being used and is bringing interest in Urine therapy for self-health care. Number 1, discover your own free natural immunity booster. Anything, and any of these here that you feel you're drawn to and you want to use it to promote your classes or your service, here's some ideas here. A healthy immune system is your best defense during a flu season or a fake-demic. It relies on the strength of antibodies, vitamin D, zinc, and vitamin C. The body blends these nutrients with thousands of substances into ultra-filtered blood plasma water as your perfect medicine. It is also known as Urine. This ancient yogic self-health care practice called Shivambu supports a strong immune system, nourishes every system and function of the body, defends you against viral attack or compromised compromised immune system, and restores health and well-being. It feels great to know about a free natural alternative without waiting for a vaccine or medication. Oral and topical use of AUT eliminates stress, supports immune system function, and restores health for free. The good news is that they have been carrying your perfect medicine. You've been carrying your perfect medicine and elixir of life within you since you were born. You didn't have to rely on the medical system or health food industry to make you well. Does that piss off anybody, knowing that you had the answer to your health your whole life, but they kept it from you? What else?
Not surprised.
Yeah, no surprise. What else did they lie about? We're not going to go there today. Urine therapy, page 204, number 3. What if the medical folks lied to us about urine being a waste product and got it wrong? What if, in fact, urine is a panacea or cure-all and a unique custom-made healing water just for us? Urine may be the answer to our prayers and health concerns. For any questions about urine therapy or possible collaboration, insert your name and contact details here. So that's set up like a cut and paste. You can always reproduce any of the stuff in here. The Best Immune Booster is also free. In these troubled times, it's a great relief to know that we have in our possession both the prevention and remedy for any illness, virus, or compromised immune system. By the way, VJ's doing great. He's back home. Anybody
awesome.
curious?
Wow.
We got round-the-clock healthcare people, physical therapists, occupational therapists. Urine therapy is an ancient Ayurvedic yogic practice using one's urine, a sterile, natural, antiviral, antibacterial substance to maintain and restore one's health. This is amazing. The medical industry lied to us with propaganda about the nature of our urine as a way to keep the truth from humanity. If you read this far, pay attention. There are countless enthusiasts and devotees who are extremely grateful, and drinking their own water was just the perfect medicine they were seeking. It was an answer to their prayers. Can I get an amen?
Yeah, amen.
Okay, thank you. Because of their devotion to the urine therapy practice, they have learned that no matter what health challenges they may face, UT does restore their health every time. With this UT message being aired on radio and internet shows, television stations, magazines, newspapers, growing number of UT books, and an incredible network of hundreds of thousands of advocates on social media platforms, over 30 million pee drinkers have been discovered and are being united. With very little assistance from any publication or media, the UT movement continues to grow, prosper, and stay alive in 50 known countries. Did I tell you my books are being translated into Arabic?
Yeah, I saw that online, yeah.
Arabic, Japanese, Portuguese. Wow.
That's
Found out that
amazing.
there's 300 million people who speak Arabic. Is that a lot?
Whoa.
Is there really? Wow.
Compared to other languages. It was a grateful and humble heart as the founder and director of Shivambu, nonprofit organization, UT author, master teacher, and outspoken voice for Shivambu, that I am fully committed and determined to assist in the declassification and acceptance of UT worldwide. Let's see the president declass urine. That would be fun. Drink the living water that matters and share this message with everyone. Let's entertain our minds by thinking and visualizing that our clients and ourselves are already healed. We are just cleaning up the mess with our personal holy water. Bless yourselves by honoring your temple with a touch or drink of urine for the body. Be sure to love and nurture yourself with rest and play. Any questions? Okay, chapter 17. Would anybody else like to read?
I don't have my book yet, sorry.
That's okay. It should be there. All I have to do is check. Did I send you the tracking?
Oh yeah, you did, yeah.
Okay. Megan.
I can read a bit.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Whether to charge or not to charge for your services is up for you to decide. Do you find value in your professional urine therapy service, knowing that you will meet and exceed your clients' concerns and needs? Do you intend for your clients to relax and trust you? This takes as long as it takes for a meaningful relationship to be built. Each consultation requires your patience, calmness, sensitivity, and tolerance for a client. Ultimately, it is up to you to set the direction of the session. As with any form of therapy, you are the facilitator of every session or meeting. You are not to presume any role as a healer, savior, or authority for them. You are guiding them to have realizations, a breakthrough, aha moments, and in turn motivate themselves to make the changes that you have recommended. Since they are relying on you to get results, most of the work is done. The answers to the concerns that they came to you to heal or resolve will be revealed to you. Your work is to teach them how to activate their innate knowing abilities. Since you read this far into the manual, you probably know how to teach students how to know what they need to know when they need to know it. Simply remind yourself first, then remind a client that as long as you are telling yourself, I don't know this, or I don't know that about this or that, you are blocking any understanding of what you want to know. Breathe. Begin now to discipline the mind by using this powerful declaration statement. I choose to know, and then fill in the blank. Write it by hand and complete the sentence with what you wish to know. Breathe, exhale, breathe. Let go of every idea in the mind. The knowingness comes. Now move confidently through this new moment as one who knows. The satisfaction comes when the client is self-motivated, when they truly get excited or inspired by their why, the results they are seeking from AUT and your work. Their success is assured.
My comment. The reason that was put in there, because this was my learning curve, people will come with every possible health challenge and condition. Some are considered, quote, incurable, and some of them might intimidate you. But that's not your job to form a judgment on what they bring you. Your job is to be still enough so that that information comes through you and you'll be able to respond with them with certainty. And you already know the protocols, and once you get familiar with the protocols and how to create general suggestions for treatments, the rest is case by case and just listening to them way past their condition. Does that make any sense? Because you're dealing with a human who is scared, who is desperate, and in a whole range of emotions. Your job is just to stay steady and help guide them through it. And you'll be great at it if your mind and your ego doesn't get in the way, as some of us have already discovered. All right, Megan.
It is the health-giving and liberating benefits from Shivambu which are inspiring millions of devotees across Earth to keep up this practice every day. Determine the value or fee for your UT sessions either based on what similar professionals are charging or what you think clients will be willing to pay you. Ultimately, the value of any service is based on the value the client receives from working with you. A payment is a form or expression of appreciation. Offering a sliding scale fee is perfect for clients with financial exceptions. By selling multiple session packages, a client will not only save money on each session, but most importantly, they will be making a commitment to do the work with you on a regular basis. Regular sessions give a client the chance to monitor their progress and to feel that you are on their wellness team. They are more likely to do these practices and follow treatment and lifestyle suggestions during the week or time between sessions. By scheduling every prepaid session on your calendar and on theirs, they will stay committed and be more proactive in doing the work and succeeding. Be open to negotiating with any client who has a money concern.
Also keep in mind to not be attached to results, to not be attached to your client, because I've had clients that had the most profound breakthroughs and ahas and transformations in 1 or 2 sessions, and then their shit came up and they canceled the last 3.
Oh, wow.
So take it minute by minute and watch your thoughts when you're working with your clients. Megan?
Yep, just finding where I was again. Be open to negotiating with any client who has a money concern. Giving away a number of sessions for free will give you an opportunity to practice generosity, as well as find out if you are really motivated by money or for the joy of providing a service. You can also learn how well you know about the subject, as well as your ability to coach and guide others. Marketing is very basic. Get the word out about who you are and what you have to offer, both online, offline, and in person. Working with the media and social media will require doing some research into which related subjects they have covered. Your chances of being interviewed or having an article accepted are better when the media that interests you has covered UT before. If presented properly and content is relative to modern times, your chances of having your article published or being interviewed will be much higher. Hint, they like to have references included in an article. Whether you are keeping your marketing efforts local, national, or international is up to you and tends to go at your own pace. Your success in doing promotions increases by associating with colleagues and other UT teachers. By constantly studying and keeping current with the Shivambu movement and new discoveries and building close friends in the water community will be to your advantage.
Thank you, Megan. The reason I put that last part there is because I approached Nexus Magazine of Australia. Ever heard of them? They've been covering all kinds of conspiracy things and New Age things and spiritual things for, 25 years. And about 10, 15 years ago, they had an article on urine therapy. So I approached them, and they said, well, great article, but we need references. And at the time, I didn't understand what that concept was. And now, a couple of years later, I got references and scientific evidence and all that other stuff. And I may approach them again, but you gotta know who you're approaching before you just put that out there. How's everybody doing? Crystal, did you mean 11:45?
No, my call's at 11, so I just need a few minutes.
Well, your time's different than hers.
Oh, I'm in Pacific time, so I have
so you have
40
10,
more minutes.
You're sitting at 10 o'clock right now.
Yeah, so I have 40 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, good. We'll just keep going. We can take a break when we get to saying aloha to Crystal.
Okay.
What the experts are saying about AUT. This is Ma Davy. Now, she's out in France. I had a chance to interview her about 2-3 years ago. She's one incredible spiritual teacher. By the way, she never uses city water. She just bathes in her Urine, lets it dry.
Wow.
That's it.
Oh,
That's
wow. I love it.
She doesn't shower. She doesn't bathe. This is her water of choice. Shiva Kalpa, commonly known in modern times as urine therapy, is an ancient holy science bestowed by the god Shiva to his consort, goddess Parvati. This ensemble of practices and techniques were initially kept a secret only to the practice by the seeker of truth, perfect health, divinity, and ultimately physical mortality. Since UT is often misunderstood by common human beings, Lord Shiva expressly recommended that it was not for the ignorant, therefore keeping it a secret. A god that judges? What is that? Nevertheless, one can find its roots in most cultures and ancient traditions or holy scriptures. Healing recipes and rituals as well. UT is indeed a wonderful thing, and there is such perfection in human beings, although UT is forgotten or unknown by the majority of the world. UT is rejuvenating, healing, and holds mystical powers for those who have the fortunate luck to discover it. Fully explore UT, and most of all, stay devoted to their daily UT practices for the long run. UT is wisdom and a Tantra yogic sadhana or practice. You can find the numerous qualities in it will bestow on the practitioner in the Shivambu Kalpa, the Dhamar Tantra. Divine blessings of love and light. Ma Dichamai Devi, that was her. Do you guys know who Harry is?
Yeah, Matadine.
Yeah, you know where he's flying to today?
Where?
Going to Portugal.
Whoa.
He's going to hang out with Lee Robert Molson, who's a urine therapy teacher, and some other people out there in Portugal. Here, this is from Harry Matadine. Your fresh urine, when combined and allowed to sit a while, becomes what we call aged. Like a fine wine, the medicinal powers of the fresh urine grows and grows the longer it is contained and allowed to sit. It is the most powerful medicine on earth. What's going on? Why does it grow in power and potency? What are the mechanisms, I hear you cry? There are many, but the key ones, which are alkaline, oxygen, and high negative ions, are explained in detail in Harry's books on Amazon. His books and his unique style of writing, he answers questions like these about benefits and use of aged urine. How do I age it properly? Does aged urine smell? Will sending loving thoughts to my urine make a difference? Does aged urine get affected by diet? Are there any other ways to increase the quality of my urine? Do I need to drink fresh urine before doing aged urine? What's that white stuff at the bottom of my aged urine? These are the questions we all get. Again, there's no such thing as bad aged urine. If it concerns you, you can scrape off any ugly-looking things from the top that may appear, but I don't fear them. I drink and use everything. Some of mine are so old now that they get mushroom stuff on the top of them. At this point, it's even more powerful than normal aged urine. I leave you with rich blessings and a big thank you. I hope aged urine rewards you with optimal health and vitality, youthful vigor, and a gratitude for life. We are blessed indeed with our own personal pharmacy and its power. Thousands of years from now, this knowledge of aged urine will be normal. It will be mainstream and used by everyone. But until then, you, my friend, are a pioneer, and I salute you. Thank you for carrying the torch forward and showing others the way. Those who use urine therapy and aged urine will always be standing on the right side of history. God bless Harry Matadine. And here's an article by George Johnson. Did I tell you who he is? He's also known as Joseph Rogers. He's a guy who had his legs amputated, and he's in Montana now with Matt Senna. Matt may be on the call. We're doing a conference call for the world this Saturday, and I think Matt might join us. I know Safina White will be there. She's out in Puerto Rico. This is from George Johnson. And then we're going to go into David Jubb, who's been a breatharian for 10 years. Life is water. We came to the world in water. When we were inside the womb in our mother, we drank the water. Where'd it go? We would pee it out and absorb it again. Why do you think babies are so gorgeous, happy, healthy, amazing, soft skin? Because they have the best, most pure health of all people in the world. The infinite creator is a genius, providing us with such an amazing start in our life. The powers that shouldn't be think otherwise, that we need to poison our children with vaccines. Etymology explains that meaning of words from when it was created. Pharmacy is explained as maker of drugs, poisons, and spells. Did you know that the original definition of pharmacy came from all that? I didn't either until I read from George. Does this sound like a company you would like to buy products from? Once we remember we get back to life the way we started, reabsorbing our own fluids, our life will transform. Urine therapy is the most powerful healing therapy in the world. It is the fountain of youth. A guy told me that he had heard from camel urine heals cancer. I told him right away, urine from animals is being used in skin cream products. Why do you think it makes the skin soft? Temporarily, of course, with those creams, so you'll come back for more. Urine is the elixir of life. Doc Michael's here right now, suggested I get some camel urine. I said, do they, where? So I found a company. I'm not going to pursue it because I got my best water ever, but there's a company that markets camel milk and camel urine on the internet, if anyone's interested. Now, it's the same with kombucha. Somebody sent me the cow urine from India, and I might have told you it smelled and tasted like the floor of a barn. All the animals, drop things on there and smelled up the place, and you take one whiff of that, and I guess the camel thing is going to be the same thing.
I know.
I'm sticking with my own.
I thought I'd mention to everybody else too that I just watched. I told you this, Brother Sage, that I just watched Urine Aid on Gaia, and I had no idea they had anything on Gaia, and I came across it. And David Jubb is on that show, and so is the other guy, the Aquarius dude.
Andrew Norton Weber.
Yeah, Norton Weber. And they're both on it. And I was just like floored that it's actually on Gaia and, for all to see. So if you guys get a chance, watch that. It's really good.
I thought that's funny. I actually thought it wasn't good at all. I thought that they were almost making it to where it could be like almost laughable. I guess that was my perception of it. Like it was almost like
just the fact that it's
thing. Well, they just didn't make it very serious. It's like if I watched that not knowing anything, I would not be. I don't know, but maybe I was going different. I don't know. I only watched it because my fiance had watched it because he loves watching everything, and he was just like very. He wasn't happy about it, and I didn't watch all of it because I was like, well, what's the point of me watching it if you said it wasn't good? And then but the parts I watched, I was like, well, they're making it just seem like it could be laughable. I don't know. That was what I went away feeling like. If I didn't know anything, that's the only thing. I would never try urine therapy. I'd be like, who are these people? And they like, the people look dirty and like they're just not people that you would. I don't know. I didn't like it, but I'm glad that you took that away from it. Maybe I could watch it again with a different perspective. I don't know.
Yeah, and just the fact that in India, that's what they use. Is their medicine. A lot of people there, and I thought that was pretty. And it's worked for thousands of years for in areas like that. And I'm just like, you know, it's information, I guess, is what I was happy to see. There's information out there, and you can take it or leave it, or think it's, you know, it's not good or whatever, but at least it's information, and people can, you can plant a seed, and people can, you know, say, oh, I want to try this, or not, don't want to try this. I was just surprised that it's actually out there.
Well, Crystal, does the Gaia presentation of it have sections for comments, or does it show how many views it's had? You're muted.
No, Gaia is more like kind of Netflix kind of setup.
Right.
So no comments, and you can't tell how many people have watched it or anything like that. I've been to the Gaia headquarters. It's close to where you live.
Yes, I had a friend who worked there. She was a reporter for Gaia, and they sent her to Glastonbury and Machu Picchu and all kinds of sacred sites to do reports.
Wow, that's awesome.
So Stephen Williams, the documentary producer, he was recently interviewed by Dr. Group. So he's still on the scene, and I just give him kudos for having the cojones to go to the extent of making that movie.
Exactly.
That's a lot of work.
Uh-huh.
So let's read about Dr. Jubb. Dr. Jubb, I met him at the Water of Life convention in Las Vegas in 2018, and he claimed he hadn't eaten anything in 10 years.
Wow.
And he's a genius. He's one of these guys. He's from Tasmania, and he's a genius. And just to be able to be in his presence was something else. So let's read a little bit from Dr. Jubb. The most common complaint today is vascular dementia and poor microcirculation. That tell you about how his mind operates. Urea opens up blood vessels by shrinking waterlogged terrain. It is then that intestinal lesion is healed by B vitamins made by friendly intestinal life colloid, of which the nitrogen from urine therapy is useful, and such a practice shifts life colloid toward useful protobacillus. Arteriosclerosis is rampant in the modern world, and nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide are all smooth muscle dilators, of which urine therapy assists the intestine produce. Did I read that right? Assists the intestines produce for you, there we go, by assisting correct intestinal dysbiosis and accompanying layering of cholesterol inside artery walls. That's often one of the most important insights into urine therapy. Seeing that all are born in amniotic fluid, as I was growing up in the wilderness of Tasmania, I used urine to wash, clean, and make dye for cloth. Kept listening to how the originals used urine therapy. Since the late 70s, saw how urea is central to all molecular conditioning of cells, including good skin creams. I get the U.S. therapeutic grade urea to put into a product made from jack beans. Notice that many cultures were using urine therapy. The kidneys are a regulating essential element and not an organ of detoxification, which everybody's figured out by now. Once you start drinking or splashing urine on the skin and or snorting this water through the nose, you should never stop. I've kept up a daily practice ever since. Urine purifies the blood. Urine therapy assists in restoring vital cell salts. Start by splashing or wetting skin with urine. Try gargling, then snorting, and drinking by starting with a smaller amount at first. Best to include life-giving enzymes in the diet and practice calorie restriction. Only eat one meal a day. Anybody practicing OMAD? The one meal a day? More or less. Some days yes, some days no.
Not yet.
Yeah, I found if I can finish a meal between noon and 2, the rest of the day all I crave is fruit. But that's, you got to figure your way around the food journey, how that fits for you.
Yeah.
Urine is the only thing you'd ever drink except for the moment after our birth, colostrum and breast milk. When growing up as an infant, nothing is better than the nutrient benefits of urine therapy. Urine allows elements of the blood to get to the furthest regions of the human body. Blood ordinarily can't reach inside the nose and the intestinal tract. I've seen urine used as subcutaneous lymphatic delivery. UT can stop the effects of a heart attack and turn an asthmatic or an allergic attack around. This provides antibodies and antitoxin abilities to the body. Urine senses overall conditions more than just a local condition as an immune force for an entire systemic effort to take care of you. Love Dr. Jeff. Send some light to Michelle. She's healing her head right now. Aged urine. Go ahead.
I need an enema.
Yeah.
You will.
I'm fantasizing about one.
Only in this community can we have this talk. This is great. Does anybody know who Dave Murphy is? He's also known as allegedly Dave.
Yeah, that's who got me. Yeah, when I was sick, that's who I looked into. Yeah, so he inspired me to do the month cleanse.
He did a 30-day urine fast.
Yeah.
And before I heard of people doing extended fasts, he was a record holder. And then I've heard people doing 45 days. And Armstrong, in his book Water of Life, had people fast for 101 days and heal blindness. So there's no limit to what you can do when you're living off your water. So here's a little article from Dave Murphy. Aged urine is that which has been stored for 8 days or more, so that's his standard of measuring it. When stored correctly, urine can be kept indefinitely, and the older it gets, the more effective it becomes. To age urine, store fresh urine in a glass container with a gas permeable covering so that it can breathe. For example, if using a bottle, then stop it with a wad of cotton wool. If using a jar, then cover with a piece of cloth held in place with an elastic band. Store in a cool place where it will not be disturbed. Urine is a living liquid. It remains alive as long as you do. And the stem cells, undifferentiated cells that become anything within the body that it contains, continue to divide and multiply while in storage. This makes aged urine a very powerful agent for healing cuts, burns, rashes, and inflammation, or any other topical use. Do you think we get a microscope that's got enough magnification that we can see cells inside our water? Who knows? I've got someone from the other class who does that kind of dark cell microscopy, or however you pronounce it, and I think she might have the right magnification, so I'll have to ask her. Wow. So we're going to skip Lee Sampson. Have you ever heard about her?
Mm-mm.
Well, there's before and after pictures of her. She was sick. She was overweight. She had all kinds of health problems. And then she discovered urine therapy. And we've watched her progress over the last 3 or 4 years, where she got stronger, she got healthier. She goes to Mardi Gras, and she was seen dancing in the streets in Mardi Gras. And that's her story if you get a chance to read about her. She still does live streams once in a while.
So what's her name again?
Lee Sampson. She also goes the name of White Buffalo Woman.
Oh, okay.
White Buffalo Calf Woman. She's a Native American from Canada. So Algavar Marine, he's either in Mexico or Indonesia, I forget which, but we're going to read his story, and then I'm going to do a rap song for you. And we'll see where we're at. What is urine? There are approximately 170 liters of blood filtered in the kidneys per day, but only approximately 1.4 liters are excreted. More than 90% of the water is reabsorbed. Each kidney weighs approximately 141 grams and is made up of more than 1.2 million nephrons or filters, that is, more than 2,400,000 filters. If we spread the nephrons one after another, it would measure about 80 kilometers. Wow. The first part of the nephron separates part of the plasma from the blood, forced through the delicate capillaries, and when they expand with a heartbeat, red cells, white cells, protein units, and vitamin units, and other relatively small particles. In the second process or stage of filtration of the nephron, it again absorbs more than 90% of plasma, leaving behind that we know as urine. It was found in 1992 at the Hayashibara Institute of Biochemistry in Japan, hope I pronounced that right, that urine is a blood product, not a waste of useless substance. In reality, urine is the most miraculous and mysterious juice in the world that your body made for your body, to be used as a medicine and at the same time as natural nutrition. Anybody still buying supplements? Anybody still have?
Homeopathy.
Well, you know, homeopathy. I mean, they all have place, but you get to a point where I get to a point where I go to the health food store. I might have said this, that I look at all the products that I used to sell and use for so many years. Now I'm looking at a museum of vitamins.
I have a museum too.
You do, and you haven't figured out what to do with it, have you?
I know I do.
Well, it's time for a giveaway or a garage sale. I don't know.
Exactly.
Urine is a sterile fluid and it is in the urethra. Urine has more than 3,000 organic compounds and many of them are specific for each body. Its main ingredients is water, 60 to 90%, 98%. Urine contains hormones that go from the pineal gland to the sex glands. It contains steroids, proteins, minerals, vitamins, enzymes, antioxidants, antibodies, antitoxins, muscle cells, muscle tissue, cellular tissues, endotoxins, exotoxins that are produced by the viruses, bacteria, and microbes that live in our body. For all of this, it is much better to drink any or all of your urine and not consume it with anything artificially or chemically made by a human. It is made by the most sophisticated lab made by God herself and not by man like the laboratory called the human body. To all brave women and men who practice urine therapy, I bow to you. Any comments about what he wrote? Now he has his own Facebook page, and this guy he posts a lot of content. So if you ever find him, if not, I can help you find him. Do you know who Casey Caban is? He goes by the name of Widu Shivambu.
Yeah, he's great.
And he's another guy I met at the Water of Life Symposium. He had 20-year-old urine out on his farm. This guy's been doing this a while. And
Wow.
so he got a chance to give a talk, and he was selling his book of poetry. And lovely guy, lovely guy. So here's his words in a poem. I'll see if I can make a rap song out of it. What are your ailments? Are you seeking a cure? Are you given treatments that leave you unsure? Most remedies relieve us, but that doesn't matter. Masking the symptoms when the cure is in our bladder. The poisons consumed are always there. It's in our food, water, and air. Some we control, no need to assume. It's simply based on what we consume. If you don't feel good, do you know why? Do you pop a pill and hope you don't die? The cure lives within us. Just look and see. It's very simple. Start drinking your pee. We should ask Matt to do his interpretation with his guitar.
Brilliant.
Any questions? Any comments? We're moving pretty fast here. You want to take a quick 5-minute break before Crystal disappears? Take a couple minutes.
I also was going to ask, what was the name of the Telegram channels again?
Telegram channels. One is called Urine Therapy Does the Body Good, which has about 275 members. Let me pull them up for you. Let's pull them up for you. Thank you for being.
I don't know why I can't find that one. Urine Therapy Does the Body Good. Yeah, I haven't been able to find it.
Okay, well, if you'll remind me, I'll send you the link. The other one, which you're welcome to be invited to, is all the graduates of these courses. It's called the Golden Grads. There is Urine Fast, The Return to Ourselves. And there is one called Dr. Shivambu with 229 members. If you can't find a Crystal, then reach out to me and I'll help you.
Okay, I'll just have to reach out too. I don't know. I'm in the Dr. Shivambu one.
There's also the UT family chat.
Mm-hmm. How many?
Is that on Telegram?
Yeah.
Okay.
UT family chat?
Yeah.
Wow.
That one has 404 members as of right now. I do find that some of them, there's so much conversation that I can't follow it all. I can't read it all. It's not.
Yeah.
And some of them have a lot of people saying, who are right at the beginning. So it's a lot of, how should I store my urine? And So it depends too. Like if you join all of them, then you're going to get a lot of the beginner questions as well as people who are sharing articles that are a little bit more in depth.
Right. And I get overwhelmed because there's question upon question of people who want to have answers. And every now and then I'll step in and answer them and give them some direction. But for the most part, I'm just watching everybody help each other. I mean, the first one I put together was Urine Therapy Does the Body Good. And it went like, it jumped up to 100 real quick. And then it jumped to 200. Now it's almost at 300. By the way, at the Shivambu Hut, we have 560 members right now. So
Is that Telegram?
No, it's our own social media network. You can find it at shivambu.org.
Oh. Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Shivambu.org, and there's we're still offering free membership.
Oh, okay. Shivambuhut.org. Okay.
Well, shivambu.org is where you'll find Shivambu Hut.
Oh, all right.
And make sure you spell it the correct way.
Yeah, BHU. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we're going to take a 3-minute break and come back, 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay.
This meeting is being recorded.
Shh. Why does she do that? All right, we're going to do a couple more chapters and see where we get.
Okay.
We're still on page 244 if you guys are following along, either PDF or a book.
Just need to nip to the loo. Won't be long.
All right. It is that so sweet to hear the word loo. You don't hear that.
No, that's funny.
Remember when it was called a water closet?
Oh, yeah.
When toilets were first made, they had a chain above it that's hooked on the wall, and you would pull the chain and the water would go through and it would flush the toilet down below it. And it was literally known as a water closet.
Oh, wow. Then wasn't there something called a chamber pot too?
Now, what country is that from?
That was England and the US and Canada and
England.
everywhere that spoke English. In your chamber, you would have, in your bedroom, in your chamber, you'd have a pot that you would use overnight. It would go under the bed.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
And then you would often have something with water as well so that you could rinse.
Oh, like a bidet?
Well, just be like just a thing with water in it. But yeah, but then in the morning, the people who came, if you were rich enough, the people who came to work for you would pick up your chamber pot and they would empty it. So you didn't have to empty your chamber pot.
Oh,
wow.
So beneath you. Can't touch that. Well, let's keep reading. We're on page 244. Consequently, the pharmaceutical companies will make antibiotics, as well as pharmacies and stores that sell antibiotics are cutting back on their workforce and may possibly close their business because there's no need for antibiotics anymore. I mean, this vision includes everything, including the end of hospitals, the end of insurance companies, the end of a lot of businesses that are all, they're all married together.
Well, you know what I was thinking? They're talking about med beds, coming. And I was thinking, why would we need them if we have urine therapy?
Well, we don't need them because we've already been taught and trained, and we know what urine therapy is. The average people are still looking for their savior and their answer to their health, and
they'll need them. Okay.
Get out there, tell more people.
Yeah,
we'll get ahead of the med beds.
Good idea.
Prime Minister Modi of India declares urine therapy as an acceptable form of health care into the entire nation of India. Now, Indira and I started this, we started writing a letter to the Prime Minister of India about 3 years ago, but her life went off in another direction, so maybe we'll have a chance to get back to that. Governments will include UT in the curriculum in all medical and educational institutions. Hospitals and healthcare providers will provide AUT as their #1 treatment. All states and countries will give official recognition to AUT. This sounds like an alternate reality, right? But it's not so far off as we think it is, because we're already making headway. There'll be a cooperation and coordination between different healthcare disciplines to assist in overcoming all illness and contributing to the happiness, well-being, and health of humanity. We will become self-reliant as people find out about this basic and natural therapeutic practice that's safe, simple, sure, and free. This is the gift of life, known as Urine therapy. Page 246. Now, this picture that you see right here of a man and a woman on a bicycle doing a toast with their water, I saw it as urine therapy. It just happens to be a stained glass window in front of a bar. So, you can see how everybody interprets things differently. I got to call that person back. So, recent reply to a water brother in South Africa about urine therapy training, urine therapy centers in Africa and certification. And this, I've been contacted from all different countries. You can get my book, Healing Water from Within, as a digital copy. There are currently no formal training centers in South Africa. There are teachers in Botswana, Nigeria, and Kenya that I'm aware of. So if you have any people that you know out in Africa, at least those countries are covered. There's a gal named Stampana Osentosi. She's in Botswana, and she's got a pretty good sized community in her area. So there are contacts out there if you need any. However, I have written this manual. You become self-certified after mastering UT protocols and have experienced mentoring and teaching others. With AUT, it doesn't matter the name of a disease or story about it, lab tests or personal beliefs. Shivambu brings healing and miracles and answers to prayer. So a lot of people call this a panacea. A lot of people call it a universal panacea, a remedy, a cure-all. Are you comfortable with those terms?
Sure.
Okay. It was Doc Mike who went against the courts in Illinois. I might have told you his story. He's here right now. But he sued the court or the medical profession out there in Illinois to win the ability to use the word cure. He said you cannot have a monopoly on that word cure, and it cost him a lot of money, and he almost lost his reputation. He won the case, and now he can say he cures people.
That's incredible.
So if you ever want to get into that, you'll talk to Doc Mike. I tend to stay away from that.
Well, I had a discussion last week with someone who said, do you have any like miracle cure stories? And I said, what do you mean? Are you talking about time, severity, completeness? Like what, like different than normal? What's the criteria for the miracle?
Mm-hmm.
And it was great because then it shifted the notion of what are we looking for? What does it mean? And so then the conversation went more in the direction of saying the miracle is being able to say, I healed myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter if it's a paper cut or an infection that normally somebody would have taken you to the hospital for, or, and it's also not because I said, like, what do you mean? Because like we treat our burns, and my burn would heal anyway. Mm-hmm. Even if I didn't use urine on it, my burn would still heal. My body is intelligent. It would figure it out, but it wouldn't be as quick and it wouldn't be as complete as what I've experienced with using the urine on it. Like I had a 2nd-degree burn on my wrist that blistered, and there's absolutely no scar. There's nothing. The tissue is completely flexible. I never had a scab. Everything just healed up beautifully. Would I have healed without it? Sure. But I'd probably have a scar, and the skin probably would have tightened, and it probably wouldn't look like nothing had ever happened. So what's the miracle?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I really like reframing that question.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it also helps them to clarify their use of the term.
Yeah.
Well, according to Course in Miracles, a healing is basically a shift of perception. It's a return to your natural order, and it doesn't require time are outside factors. Page 247. Now, you know, if you read my books, there's enough pee jokes and pee humor in it because, you know, working with a controversial subject and something that's considered taboo by the average person, you might as well have fun with the subject.
Yep.
And the people in the water community have a great sense of humor. They get all the pee jokes. They always put pee memes and cartoons, and they lighten up the subject. So this is why it's been included in all my books. Page 247. Humor as a therapeutic adjunct to AUT does make a difference. Stay with us, Catherine. We're almost done.
No, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere.
Smiling not only increases one's face value, smiling produces endorphins and happy molecules. While dealing with the controversial subject of drinking one's pee and sharing AUT with sick people you wish to help, it will take a sense of humor as well as a sensitivity to earn acceptance by prospects and newbies on the UT path, as you've already experienced. The Piscabulary of Organisms was included in the book Healing Water from Within, along with piss cartoons, pee jokes, celebrities discussing drinking pee, or people singing pee drinking songs, was for readers to learn how to lighten up when presenting UT to everyone. Did you see the video with David did what's his name? He was from the X-Files. And there's a scene where he's waking up in the morning, he's peeing in his empty whiskey bottle, and then he drinks it, and he goes, "Woo! God, I needed that."
That's good.
So, yeah, whenever I can find celebrities doing those kind of things from movie clips, there's Kevin Costner. He was in one, Waterworld. He ends up on a ship in the middle of the ocean, and he ends up peeing in his little device, and it purifies it, and he drinks it. Of course, he didn't have to do that, but, you know, for the sake of the movie, they put that in there. Page 248. Humor and piss puns produce a temporary shift in the mind in its attempt to take in a new idea, particularly one that challenges our perception of reality or beliefs learned from, quote, trusted sources. While a person is going through mental gymnastics to be able to understand and integrate this new idea, known as the sorting out period, AUT as an idea is worth considering. There's nothing that, how do I put this? Just seeing the look on someone's face when you first drop the idea in them is precious. You want me to do what?
It's true.
I have, but no, it is, it's not. I mean, they're bouncing all up and down, and you're just sitting there solid going, I drink it. Millions of people drink it. What are you waiting for? Let's get you in here. Let's get you started. I mean, whatever it takes to step them through it is whatever you go through. And if you need some help, let me know.
I had a conversation yesterday with a friend that I talked to about, natural healing and energetic healing and that kind of stuff. And I mentioned it, and she's like, "Oh no, that's not something that I'd want to do." And I'm like, "Well, if you have an open mind, you'd want to at least look at it, She goes, "Oh, I have an open mind, but that's just not for me." I'm like, "Okay."
A good question at that point is, where did you get your idea about urine being a waste product? If they say it's a waste product and it's nasty, I say, because most people haven't done any research, they don't have a strong argument.
Exactly. Yeah. I get it, because that's how I thought too. I mean, I felt like that too in the very beginning. I thought that's disgusting, and yeah, it took a shift in perception to get to a different place.
There are crazier things going around. I would say this.
You're not kidding.
Yeah. Okay, we're still on page 248. Humor is a key that opens the mind. It spices and lightens up any apparent difficulties. Humor Like a powerful laser light, penetrates even the most guarded of minds, allowing new ideas to be planted in a now fertile soil. One pioneer in laughter research claimed that it took 10 minutes on a rowing machine for his heart rate to reach the level it would after just 1 minute of hearty laughter. Anybody remember the guy who was had an incurable disease? What was his name? He was in a hospital, and while he was in the hospital, he kept watching old Groucho Marx and old comedy movies, and he healed himself by using laughter.
Mm.
And so, never downplay how important laughter is in your life.
Now, what the belief? There's a woman that heals herself by using heals her breast cancer by using laughter.
Mm-hmm.
I have friends who teach laughter yoga, laughter classes, and one of Osho's well-known meditations, there was a short version, which is 20 minutes of, I'm trying to get this right now, 20 minutes of laughing, 20 minutes of crying, 20 minutes of stillness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice.
I've done that one. But then the longer version of that is 3 hours of laughing every day for a week, 3 hours of crying every day for a week, and 3 hours of stillness every day for a week. And a friend of mine has done that twice.
Wow.
And she's—
How do you make yourself laugh?
You just keep going. You just pretend it. You do the thing with the body that indicates laughing, and then you laugh. And Osho funnily had 2 ways. He said, if you can't laugh, say Yahoo! And you just keep saying Yahoo! And it'll make you laugh. And it's kind of true.
That's true. It just made me laugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you can't cry, you start saying Yaboo. Yaboo.
Oh,
and then
it
makes you sad. But you just do the thing with your face, right? You smile and you go, ah, and then you just keep going.
Yeah, and just like make your with the cry, and just force yourself to do an ugly face. But definitely releasing emotions and then coming to stillness is what's definitely healed me.
Sounds great. I like the idea.
Yeah, and a friend of mine here who's learned the urine therapy through me not shutting up about it. She has very nicely started calling whenever we get together. If there's a group of 3 or 4 of us, she says, "I'm back with my pisters."
I
That's
love that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that one down.
Yeah. Yeah. That's from Jan. Yeah. And that's the thing. She just organically started doing that. Just enjoying it, enjoying the fun. And she's read your book.
Oh, cool. There's a YouTube video going around. This guy teaches the mechanics of laughter and how the belly gets involved with it. And he teaches you how to anatomically set off laughter waves.
Really? Who does that?
I'm not sure who it is, but I caught that a few years ago. You'd have to look it up. But there are people like we need to be taught how to laugh. Maybe we do. Maybe we do.
Yeah. I think I've been too serious lately. Definitely.
Me too. Yeah.
So you might say we're laugh deprived as well as touch deprived.
Yeah.
You can also go on YouTube. You can also on YouTube put in like 1 hour laughing, and there'll be a laugh. There'll be this track of people, like real people laughing. So it's not like a weird sound. And then you can just laugh with it.
Look that up.
I've done that before, because sometimes it's just in the silence and between your own laughs, you just need a little encouragement. And if you have this track going, then it's easier to start up again. And they vary the kind of laughs, right? Some are belly laughs, some are high laughs, some sound like they're younger people or older people. So you get a range of laughs happening, and that's helpful too.
Yeah, I can just really feel that this is what I need. Definitely. It's a really good reminder.
More notes.
Does it have the YouTube crying too?
I don't know, but that one is a little.
I guess I'll look it up.
Yeah, I don't remember what I did for that one, or if I put on. There was some sort of sadder, like just very, very basic background, not music, but like a noise. There is a I'm trying to remember whether Osho actually had a soundtrack that went with that you could order or not, or whether people just improvised it. I'm not sure.
So is it helping you release emotional stuff? Is that what this is doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the same guru who taught chaotic meditation, where people would just shake everything they got for 30 minutes or however long that
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
So good. Dynamic meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why it always felt good to go out dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always liked it too. Yep.
Yeah.
In the old days when we could go out dancing.
But we could do it again, couldn't we?
Yeah.
We can, if it has to be a Zoom dance group, we'll do that, whatever it takes.
Zoom dance.
All right, let's read a little bit more. We're doing fine. Now, if I get through this too quickly, then we got all this time to just, talk or leave, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Page 249. 10 minutes of laughter can really produce 2 hours of pain-free sleep, as well as a mind that is free from worry. It has been shown in several studies that the ability to laugh raises the level of infection-fighting antibodies by the body, as well as boosts the level of immune cells. Your body responds incredibly well to the effects of belly laughs. Or, and especially during looping, either sip looping or all-out looping, increases antibodies, nourishes the nervous system, especially the adrenal glands, normalizes work of blood vessels, and lowers blood pressure. Adding comedy, humor, and laughter reactivates, amplifies, and enhances the body's strength as it brings positive effects. Regardless of whether laughter actually does improve your health or boosts your energy, it undeniably improves your quality of life. Enjoying laughter is the reason to laugh. That makes sense. It's like when I go for walks, the walk is the reason I'm going for a walk. It becomes a meditation instead of saying, well, I got to go for a walk for exercise, or I got to go walk because I got to work out my problems. No, I go for the walk because I need to go for a walk.
Dance because you want to dance.
I want to dance, and where I go, Michelle, there's a huge open field, and this is where I do live streams and scream a lot.
Yeah.
Cool.
Work out all that rage. Being pissed on is more therapeutic than staying pissed off.
Yeah.
Get hip by learning an hilarious new Orin language. It is packed with piss-rich puns and new Orin words with definitions. Now, the people who are translating my books in Arabic and Portuguese in France, they've had to leave out that chapter because there are no words in any language that they can translate it.
Oh, no.
The girl who's translating into German, she says she's going to leave it in there because there's a lot of German people who speak English.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Breathe, exhale, and release all pressure from your belly, mind, bladder, and intestines. Here's a pistacular idea that will facilitate your co-orination with others. Pee puns are guaranteed to take you beyond the known Oriniverse, the Orinosphere, where Shivambu devotees get together. The worldwide water family openly and sincerely show their respect and love for each other, particularly the pisters. What do we call the brothers?
Yeah, you're gonna have to think of something.
The water bros? We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
In my experience, I feel everyone's love and gratitude for hearing this message in the most peefic way. Just pee happy, pee active, and drink your pee today. Today's mantra: I now pee easily, effortlessly, and on time. Tell that to all you men with prostate issues. I release, relax, and am present when I pee. Are you having a magnificent time right now? You're in good hands with your own water. Just trust and flow with it. What was that new one I just put up? Anyway, I'll get to it. Hey, if you can't take a joke, you know what to do. Anybody know that expression? If you can't take a joke, we'll piss on them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, now it's a compliment. We didn't get that before. Have you come have you come aboard the Orin wave before it becomes the big change? Come on in, the water is fine. Either get pissy drinking Orin or get busy sinking. Hemponomics, what happens with a hemp farmer who uses Orin in his field. His plants and income become enormous. Was it Mary Poppins who sang a verse that contained the word expialidocious? It got quiet when he said that. Simply let the vocabulary of Orinisms or resources fill up your joy tank and you will never be piss poor again. Any questions, any comments, anything you want to review from our 6-part series?
Something just came to my mind just in terms of the relaxing, just that was in here just because it said, you know, relax and in the body. One of the people that I've been talking with and consulting with passed a kidney stone. Mm-hmm. After working with urine for they're working with urine for many months, but then really feeling there was something wrong, but not knowing what it was. And after the kidney stone came out, having one of the things that was noticed was the need to pee as much went down. The kidney stone had been disrupting the system, and now they don't need to pee as often.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good point. Has other people had experience like this? Getting rid of stones?
No, but I have to pee a lot, so I wonder if that's part of it.
Well, it might be. Would you say that might be her situation, Megan?
Well, it's one of those things. I mean, we have to feel into it, right? And it's also like, what are we eating, and how much salt are we having, and there's so many layers.
Different factors.
And I can feel a shift happening, in my thoughts about food, and I know that it's a process, and so I'm just being patient with myself and going, okay, you're going to get there. You just, don't beat yourself up about it. Just keep going. Yeah. Right. So,
and a lot of people, when I talk to them about doing fruit and being a fruitarian and eating live foods, they think that the breatharians and the fruitarians, either they live in a world of their own, or their bar is raised so high that these people can never achieve it. And the goal isn't to have the perfect diet. The goal is to be at peace with food.
That's right. Yes. Thank you.
Choose more consciously that which you intuitively know is a healthy choice, and move away from the unhealthy choices and the emotional back demands that cause you to eat those ways.
That sounds exactly right to me.
Because most people eat out of emotional states, or they need to comfort themselves, or they're having a tough time, and food is their drug of choice. And I see that happen with all the so-called vegetarians, vegans, and purists. They go, well, I don't do drugs, and I don't drink coffee, and I don't do alcohol. I said, yeah, but you stuff your face with your vegan food.
Yeah.
So everybody has to find their way down that journey.
Yeah, for sure.
Fasting gives you an awesome opportunity to take a break from food. So you can reassess when you go back to eating, watch how you break the fast, because that's just as important as how you start the fast.
Well, I really want to do the looping, and I'm gearing up to do that. So I just want to be able to, I drink my urine till about 10 or 11 in the morning, but I want to push it a little farther and see what happens.
Are you going to do that today?
No, I already ate.
Well, what about the rest of your day?
Yeah, the rest of my day, yeah, I can do whatever I want. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can reset the clock for the fast.
Well, I mean, looping isn't just drinking the urine, right? Looping.
Well, the act of drinking your urine all day is looping. Anything else you're doing is whatever else you're doing.
But I mean, it's not especially fasting, right? You're just making sure you drink your urine. You can still eat, from what I was told.
If you choose.
If you choose, that's right. Yeah.
And the reason
if you don't, then you're actually fasting, right?
Well, if you're fasting urine, you're feasting.
You're feasting. Yeah,
You're eating like a store's worth of food here. I mean, the nutrition is off the chart compared to anything you can buy
Yeah,
at
it's
a store.
amazing. Yeah.
And the folks who have done urine fasting, I think a lot of them look at it that way. I just had breakfast. I just had a snack. I just had dinner. It's all your approach to it that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes if I have something I really want to eat because I like the flavor of it and it's a treat or something, then I have to almost remind myself not to drink a cupful of urine because I'm going to be too full to enjoy the food.
It's true. I know. I'll drink 8 ounces in the morning, 8 to 10 ounces in the morning, and I'm not hungry
Good.
till noon or later.
How about later on in the day when you feel, well, I don't know if you do, but if you feel your energy dip or your brain starts to cloud up,
I do.
are you drinking, snorting, or what are you doing to get that energy to come back?
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm eating. I'm eating food. So no wonder, huh?
I got into the habit, and it's been a wonderful alternative than having to reach for an herbal stimulant or a caffeinated something or other, or any of that stuff. And it'd be nice to see more and more people choosing that instead of the other things.
So I wonder, does it help at night too, like sleeping?
Mm-hmm.
If you drink it at night, because I'm not drinking it at night, but I'm having difficulty sleeping a lot. So,
Okay, well, let's throw out a couple of nutrients, and maybe you'll understand why it's good for sleeping. And what some people do is they wake up in the middle of the night, they take a sip and go back to bed.
Yeah, sip looping. Yeah.
Well, just a little bit. Now, here's some of the ingredients. It helps rest, and you know these ingredients: melatonin,
Yeah.
serotonin,
Yes.
magnesium, B vitamins, um, DHEA. There's human growth hormone in there. There's things that are known that people have to go buy as a supplement in order to get calm and relaxed, and it's in your water.
Well, that's awesome.
That's why it's important to know, if you get a chance, just to study the ingredients from time to time. So you can help people go, well, I got this problem and that problem, this problem, that problem. I said, well, normally you go to the store and you'd buy this and that for that, but yet you already have it. So building a new connection with the water as your go-to will make a big difference.
Okay.
And it's really helped a lot of people to disconnect from the concern and worry about, oh, wait a minute, I'm deficient in this, that, and the other thing, and where am I going to get it at the store? Do I buy it through eBay, Amazon, multi-level marketing company? Because everybody and his brother's pitching the miracle supplement and the miracle superfood, and you don't need to have it unless you really want it.
Well, you're talking about me specifically right now, because that's exactly what's been going on. Because of I'm not digesting, because of my microbiome has been off, but I can feel it, coming back into balance again. That's what I felt. I felt like the doctor said too, I was deficient. So he kind of, helped me have that belief. So now I'm realizing, is if I just do the Shivambu and allow it to do its work, instead of always, thinking I have to bring all this other stuff into it, like enzymes, probiotics, all these things that your gut biome, when it's off, that it needs. So,
well, try this sometime. And I still do this just to remind myself the value of Urine. I'll walk through either the health food section or just where all the stacks of packaged food is. But in this case, I'll walk through the health food section and go, I don't need that. I don't need that. Aloe vera. Oh, I don't need that. Amino acids. I don't need that. Digestive enzymes. I don't really need that. And it's great to go through it just to validate you're already covered.
Wow. Talk about freedom.
Try that sometime. I know you can walk out and you still got the money in your pocket.
I can do that in my closet here. I don't need that. I don't need that. My medicine cabinet. Yeah.
And are you saving them until they fall apart and rot, or what's going
on? It's the just in caser. So yeah, you're right. I need to, think about that.
It's the same when people become a raw foodist. And I
Mhm.
noticed that for many, many years. I did raw foods for 4 decades. And there's always somebody will come up to me and say, well, you look deficient. You need to get more protein. Have you thought of eating chicken and fish? And maybe you should get this
Oh,
and that and the other thing. And if I didn't have the faith that I have in my diet and lifestyle, it'd be
oh,
really tempting to go, well, I'll just start including that in my diet. But then
oh, you're right.
when I tried
Yeah,
that, when I added beans and rice or I added whatever it was, and nuts and seeds, I would get sluggish. My brain would go dull, and my energy would, and I have to go take a nap.
really. So you never see doctors?
No, I don't see doctors.
No, I didn't think so. I don't think probably too many UT people do. I wouldn't think so.
Right. The last time I
I
saw a
won't be
doctor was,
either. I won't be much longer.
well, yeah, and stay in touch with this group and the Water family, and you get a lot of encouragement and a lot of support,
Yeah, I want to get.
particularly when you feel like you're going to slide or you binge
Well, I
eat.
can't wait to join these Telegram groups. Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to ask you about is brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
Do you only use urine to brush your teeth?
Mhm.
Okay.
I mean, some
I don't
people
know.
will use baking soda and sea salt.
Yeah, I used that in the past. Yeah, I know. The salt though we don't want, right?
Well, that's an interesting topic. That and certain types of water and certain foods are they have people they love it one week, they don't like it the next week. So they go back and forth because a lot of people said salt is bad and this, that, and the other thing, and there's other
Yeah.
people who go, I added some salt, I took a pinch, and it really made the difference.
Yeah, I know.
So
I
you have
hear
to
it.
weigh in on that one.
Okay.
I mean, they did it with good chocolate, bad chocolate, good coffee,
Yeah,
bad
right. Cacao. Yeah.
cows.
Yeah, those cacao ceremonies. Yeah.
Well, I once brought in cacao from Peru. I partnered with a guy in BC, and we were bringing in 6,000 pounds at a time from Peru. And
Whoa.
I was marking all over the place. And then I discovered that this particular farm in Peru was not different than a lot of cacao farms. And what they did was they spiked it with guarana and some caffeinated herb so that people would be addicted to it.
Oh,
But you don't know that when
oh
you buy it
yeah.
at the store. They don't have a label. It just says raw cacao.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Plus, if it comes across the border, there's a high chance it gets radiated.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's good to know, the sources of your food. This is why it's great to grow your own food or get it from local farmers. Because that's the question. Yes, Megan.
Um, in terms of like using urine as a cleaning product, because it's something I hear people talk about, but I haven't seen that written about. Really, do you?
People have been cleaning their clothes and their food with it.
Mm-hmm.
And we have research in some of my books, some other books that talk about Rome and Greece. In the laundry industry, they would take the clothes out of town and they would wash them in the urine.
They were washing sheets from hotels in Germany in the 1950s in urine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just sort of wondering, do you use it like to clean windows or clean mirrors or clean floors, or do you use it for anything like that? Or do you know?
Oh, I cleaned windows with it the other day and it was great.
Old or
Really
fun.
aged or fresh?
I'm trying to remember what I did. It must have been a bit aged actually, because yeah, that cupboard up there. I just sort of grabbed it because I was just sort of thinking somebody was coming to view this house, and I just suddenly thought, oh, I really need to, because they kept on going really smeary, and yeah, I just suddenly thought, oh, maybe I'll just do that, and it worked really well. But yeah, it would have been a bit aged, like it would have been about a week,
Mm-hmm.
a bit over a week, 10 days old, something like that.
And does the odor evaporate?
It did, yeah. Couldn't quite believe it. But I had it on a damp cloth, so, and then I rubbed and I wiped it off with obviously a dry cloth, and it seemed fine. Well, it seemed fine to me.
I mean, it feels totally fine to me, except I got roommates. And when they caught wind, pun intended, they caught wind of me doing aged orange baths and aged orange foot soaks, and in my water closet, the fragrance was coming out of my bedroom and going into the hall and into the rest of the house. I got told that I needed to put a lid on these guys or move them in the garage. So you got to know who you're living with and what's
yeah.
possible.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was quite amazed that it didn't smell. It's strange. Don't quite understand that.
Yeah, I put it on my face every day now, and I'm so surprised that it's after just as soon as it dries, the smell is almost gone, or at least that's what it appears to be to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, fresh is totally fine.
Yeah, fresh is totally fine. I don't even worry about that now.
Yeah,
but
it's the aged, isn't it?
And
aged.
are you using it on your hair? Because we know Megan puts it on her hair because look how gorgeous her hair is.
Yeah.
Although I don't do it that often at the moment. I go through periods where I do it and then I stop again.
I don't really know how to do it on my hair.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
Well,
how do you do it?
If you have longer hair, so I take a dropper, like for tinctures,
Yeah.
like little homeopathic dropper for whatever, that sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
And I part my hair dry. And I take the dropper and I go along the part. So I use one hand to rub it in and the other one I'm dropping it. And I go all the way along the part. And then I take a very small piece, like maybe 1/3 of an inch or smaller.
A little section.
And I part it again and I go down the next row. And I do that all the way, both sides. And I do the back of the head's a little messier. But I do that. And then that way the hair itself can stay dry. It'll slowly move into it, but I'm not walking around with sopping wet hair, especially in the winter.
Yeah. Right.
But I'm getting the roots and I'm getting the skin and the scalp, and my hair isn't dry. So there's no, I don't have to do
into your scalp. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I find even with the aged, when I do that, especially if I do it in the morning and then I don't have to go out until the afternoon. I have asked friends before, I'm like, does this smell funny? And they always say no.
Even though you haven't washed it out?
But really? It's because it's just at the root and it's absorbed into the skin. I think that's what's happening.
But you're not really touching the hair much, just the sections.
No. Yeah. And otherwise, I know that Rosalind Hanson, other people have said they might put an essential oil in it. They might put lavender. They might put something else in it just to have something slightly different if they were using it on their hair. But unless I'm doing a hair treatment where I'm soaking the hair, but I don't do that if I'm going out.
Yeah, right. That's what I mean. Yeah. And then you put it in a shower cap or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the hair is if the hair is totally soaked, then what I've done is I've wrung it out as much as I can, but it's still wet. And then I'll put a small towel on it and then put the shower cap over the towel.
Oh, yeah. Because
and then everywhere. A towel over the pillow, right? So just that I'm not dripping.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I just do the scalp. Yeah. Okay. And it dries pretty quickly. When you just do the scalp, it dries really quite fast.
I'm going to try that because I don't, when it's dripping all over and it gets all over me. Yeah. It's like, all over the floor.
And that's a good way to do it before bed too, because or not right before bed, but maybe 2 hours before you go to sleep, do that. It'll be dry by the time you go to bed, but you're still getting the benefits of letting it soak in and not rinsing it. But I think it's different for men who have short hair or women who have short hair. Any person who has short hair is going to find it easier to do the urine on the head than the people with the long hair.
Yeah, really short. Yeah.
And also your hair texture makes a huge difference. Like I have a friend who's got incredibly, more like Michelle's hair, just a lot of hair. And I think, people with different ethnic backgrounds who have different structures of hair too, they might find they have to do very different treatments depending on what how much it absorbs or how often they wash it, because if certain styles, you don't wash it necessarily in as often as somebody who has another type of hair. You know, like I can put fresh in my hair and leave it, and people will say they don't smell it. But a friend of mine who has hair like what looks like Michelle's, her hair's so thick that she found that it started to smell. It bothered her.
Oh.
So
Yeah, nobody here has dreadlocks.
exactly, right? Like that would change things. That would.
Oh, that would. Yeah.
And those are all knotted up here.
Yeah. So I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure people all over the planet have had dreadlocks and other braided things where they had urine in it for thousands of years. It's just maybe not normal today to do that in a big city, but I'm sure humans
kept all the bugs out of it.
Or whatever they have in there. So Catherine, you gonna try that?
I am going to try it. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Good.
Yep, I have a dropper.
We want to see your hair color change.
I know. Me too.
It's terrific to have dark hair when you get on in age. Just be able to do that. Michelle, how you feeling over there?
I seem to be getting a bit better actually. Yeah. Had a good glug of some orange juice. And, yeah.
You can never downplay how powerful this water is.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think it is to do with my, getting used to eating. It's like finding the balance, because I just love not eating, that like you say, that rest from food, and then feeling like if I eat too much, just really feeling how it's just so dehydrating and just changes my whole everything. Eating just feels like so clogging, and so just trying to find that balance, but I think the one meal a day is something that really suits me.
Yeah.
To get over my I can do that for an amount of time, and then I sort of go off, and so if I can sort of like keep some stability with that, maybe have the one meal a day and then fruit, that might be the way to do it, like eat about 2 o'clock, something like that.
That sounds
but
perfect.
Definitely food, too much food is like, oh, it really is.
A good rule of thumb in when you're choosing food is choose food that has water content, chlorophyll, enzymes, strong life force, or vitality. And that'll take you to raw foods every time. Because everything else, they've either cooked the hell out of it, or they processed it, or they added chemicals. And all those human-made foods aren't necessarily foods, but we've been led to believe that that's healthy, even in the health food stores.
What about nuts?
What about nuts?
Well, I like them. And I'm thinking about, replacing any proteins I have, with, well, I mean, obviously I can use Urine too, but I was thinking nuts would be a good replacement.
It is and it isn't. It all depends on what state the nuts are in. If you soak them, if you sprout them, if you germinate them and bring them back to life, they don't have the enzyme inhibitors that protects them from insects and bugs.
Oh.
It also changes the balance from acid to alkaline. It reduces the inflammatory conditions. And
what does?
Well,
soaking
the soaking and the sprouting reduces the inflammation. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you guys know that almonds can sprout, right?
Walnuts can sprout, or can walnuts sprout?
Almonds.
Yeah.
Almonds. The shoot grows inside the almond. When you crack it open, you'll see that little.
Oh, right. Yeah. You do see that.
Yeah, any of the nuts can be soaked. They can be sprouted. You can turn them into a nut butter. You can do a lot more to make it easier to digest.
So I imagine microgreens would be really good then.
Yes, and also it's a good idea if you're going to eat nuts is to eat them with a salad or eat them with something that has the digestive enzymes.
Oh, right. That
I
makes
mean, the
sense. Yeah.
people who just take handfuls and chomp them down like you're on an airplane and you chomp them down, they get tired and their brain fogs up and they don't know why.
Or eating them with fruit.
That's a
No?
tricky thing because the chemistry is different. That's a
Oh, okay.
protein and a sugar. They don't necessarily combine too well.
Oh, right, right, right.
I mean, if you got a strong fire in your gut, you can do it for a short period of time, but I wouldn't make a habit of it.
Nope. Okay.
Did that help?
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking about it. Yes. Uh-huh.
And some people say, well, beans are vegetarian. Can I eat beans? Well, it's the same thing. You got to sprout them.
Well, I tried that and I tried sprouting lentils and I got really bad gas, even when sprouted. So they're just not for me, obviously. Not right now, anyway.
Yeah, well, your body's going to tell you. It's
Yeah, my body told me. Yep.
instant feedback.
Yeah.
You can also make nut milk.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can do, and there's tons of
Hemp seeds, do you think that's good?
yes and no.
Oh, really? Okay.
I did a lot of research. I almost started a hemp microgreen company in 2014.
Oh,
Most of the hemp food is radiated when it comes in
oh,
the United States. I don't know about in Canada, but in order to get in the United States, the hemp milk, the hemp butters, the hemp oil, the hemp seeds were all nuked before they came to the United States. And it wasn't until they made hemp legal in the United States, in Kentucky and in Colorado and places, that people could get uh, non-sterilized hemp,
even organic.
even organic. And unless you know the source, they don't put that on the label.
A lot of hemp
Okay.
is produced in Canada. And
It
so
is.
we can get hemp that's produced here and it doesn't need to be irradiated to be transported across the country.
Oh,
Is that the Manitoba Hemp Company?
Though there's a couple in Manitoba. I don't know which one, but I've seen there's multiple ones now. Yeah.
Right. So, does that answer your question, Catherine?
yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
It's the same with any food. The other thing that's the difficult thing with nuts and grains and seeds is the length of time it's stored from harvest to transportation to silos to warehouses. By the time it gets to store, and if they put it into self-service bins, there's contamination from touching. And I mean, there's a lot of things. There's mold, there's toxins, there's all kinds of things that happen in our food that we don't realize.
And plus the rancidity of the oils, right?
Mm-hmm. It's been oxidized,
Yeah.
which leads us back to raw foods again.
Yeah, it sure does. Okay. I'm learning.
Um, if I had mentioned before, Google the terms chemistry and composition of foods or the term food combining charts, and
Oh, yeah.
they lay out the what combines well and what doesn't combine well. Like protein and starch don't do too well. Protein and sugars do terrible. Fats and fruit, forget it. So they'll tell you why you get heartburn and gas and belching and bloating is because they're not combining. Plus, we put more than 4 or 5 items in a meal. That's a recipe for disaster. I know people, I did this for years. Oh, it's all raw food. So you add everything you can in the salad and you eat it all up and then you still get problems with it. You got to simplify your meals.
Really? Okay.
Chew thoroughly. Don't eat late at night. I mean, some simple rules for living will keep you out of trouble. Now, one thing is hard for people, and I've gotten better at it, is trying to have a meal and conduct business, trying to have a meal and be with your friends and lovers. When you need that time to chew thoroughly and digest well, I found that people have more health problems because they talk while they're eating.
Oh, that's interesting. Yes, I've been thinking about that actually.
And some of my teachers uh, who would come to visit, whenever we have a potluck or a meal, they would go off somewhere and eat by themselves because that was their practice. and we didn't take it personal.
Sometimes I go to a Buddhist monastery over here that they have a silent meal. So you go, they do their chanting, and then you eat in silence. And it kind of made me aware of that, oh, okay, you're actually, tasting the food, and you're getting the experience rather than focusing on, this talking to a person in front of you.
You're
It's a
with the
lot.
food.
It's a lot different. It's a lot different. Yeah.
It is. There was I went to an ashram here in Boulder about a year ago. A friend of mine was a devotee of this guru, and we ate in silence in his presence.
Yeah.
Nobody talked to each other. Nobody said anything to anybody. I mean, the guru was the only one allowed to talk, and he talked to one or two of his devotees, and it was silence the whole meal, and I loved it.
Yep. Yeah, I loved it too.
So there is some unlearning to do around food.
It really is.
And unfortunately, you won't get this in public schools. You won't
No.
get this at church. You won't get this on television. You won't even get it on social media. So you have to like find out from some pee drinking guy or whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Just yeah, I think
one other question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, just there's the places in the psyche that just want to rule the roots. That this childish, addictive behavior. So
It is.
Especially
Very
when you know better. I mean, I would imagine that most people would think that my addictions just aren't hardly anything. But yeah, when it gets down to food, that I know better from my experience of what suits me, which is more food, one meal a day, chewing well, all of everything you said, and then suddenly I'm just eating a big casserole of mung beans and 2 helpings of it, and then I'm just like, ugh. So it really does show, that it is the addictive, mind controlled, wounded place, and
Yeah.
that is what needs,
Yep.
the attention.
Catherine, do you have a question?
Oh, yeah. The question I was just going to bring up, because so what I've been eating, one of my first meals a day has been like either oats or buckwheat. So, and I seem to feel okay with that, but I'm questioning, is that really not a good idea? And I'm trying to put weight on my body, which, by the way, I have gained 11 pounds. I just found out. So obviously something's shifting inside of my body.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So I'm, and I'm going, okay, now I can just relax and, stop worrying about it. But
Congrats.
yeah. So, but I guess my question is, so what are your feelings or thoughts about grains or oats like that?
Well, if you heard what grains do to the body, it might be a turnoff. But I'm not here to preach one way or the other, because everybody has a personal relationship with food. You have to find your way down the journey.
Yes, that's right.
Once again, the grains are stored. The grains are irradiated. Grains can be filled with bugs and stuff that's inside the bags. I mean, there's all kinds of things that happen. Many teachers who teach about the alkaline diet, like Dr. Robert Young, he will tell you they're loaded with toxins. And if you're going to do grains, if you have to do grains, get the sprouting operation going. Get used. I mean, oats are sproutable. Wheat is sproutable. They're all sproutable if you get it from a source that you can rely on.
So that's the whole thing. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have to ask yourself, why are you eating it? Is because that's what your mom gave you when you were sick? I mean, you've got some kind of connection to it, or you would just stop it.
Why am I eating it?
Why do you eat it? Is it because that's what you know, or that's
But
what
I
you?
think it's giving me nourishment and helping me my body to change and shift and become better. I don't know.
Well, one good litmus test is whether you eat a food and you feel like taking a nap, or you eat a food and you can get work done without
Oh,
having a stimulant to assure that you have energy.
yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I was raised with cereal, toast, eggs, coffee.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
all that stuff was part of my family life. And then what happens when that energy dips? I find myself in school having a Coca-Cola or whatever it takes to keep your brain and your body active, and you take the toll after a couple of years of that.
Yeah. I was raised with milk and white bread, you know,
Yeah,
and think about that now.
But
Yeah.
everybody's body is still different, even like after all that. And to come out of cycles and years of eating something, we might
Exactly.
need to take out one thing at a time. We might need to work with and then cycle back into it and see how we feel and then make a decision again. And it's okay to keep experimenting and trying.
And that's why I said it's a process, that I just have to, yeah, figure out.
But have you ever had colonics?
No, I was afraid to get those.
it's just an enema with a machine.
Yeah. But so when I had that, where I live, there's no one who does it right here on the island I live on at the moment, but there are people nearby. When things open up, I'll be able to go to someone again. But the first time I ever had that, the woman asked a lot of questions, like, what do you eat? And what's your life like? And do you exercise? Like, she was really thorough in terms of getting a picture of who I was first. And at that point, I was still eating some meat and I was still eating dairy. Um, I still eat dairy now from time to time, but I was eating, not drinking milk and not eating a lot that way, but still like yogurt, because I thought yogurt helped me digest things and stuff like that.
Right.
And so when she did the colonics, she was looking for meat and dairy mucus, because I'd said I eat those. And what she found stuck in my gut more than anything else was grains.
What do you mean she found it? How'd she find it?
When they do the colonics, they massage your abdomen at the same time, and they can feel where there's a blockage. And sometimes they can sort of work the area, massage it, and dislodge something that's caught.
Plus, they have
Wow.
a viewing tube where they can see things passing out of you.
Yeah. And so part of what was interesting was my intuition had told me I shouldn't be eating grains. I'd been to a couple different people who said, you don't seem like you're doing too well with grains. I'd had problems digesting grains since I was a child, but everyone had ignored me when I'd said I didn't feel good. And when it came to it, what was stuck in my gut wasn't the meat, and I didn't have excess mucus from dairy, which she said that was
Wow.
weird for her. She was convinced. So she said, you must be okay. But it was the grains, and it backed up everything I knew about my body. She helped me to feel confirmation that I was trusting myself with it. So
Wow.
there's that too, right? But when I think about what she said, most of the people who came to see her, it wasn't grains that were stuck in their gut. Most of the people, it was other things. And so that's what I mean by everyone's still going to be different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
your
I think
metabolism will change.
that's similar for me. I believe that grains and pulses don't do me good.
Hmm.
Pardon the pun, but it's been ingrained in us.
Yeah, it has.
I mean, we were raised with all those commercials about the cereals, and
I know.
Aunt Jemima was our favorite aunt. I mean, just all that programming. We've had to deprogram ourselves in order to be
I
free of all
know.
that.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Yeah.
And Fruit Loops has zero fruit in it, by the way.
Yeah, right.
As a matter of fact, if you ever get to the store and you look at the side nutritional profile of any product by General Mills, you'll see the term um, genetically modified and bio. How did the word? it says right on the label, it's genetically modified food. It's on there. They're not even hiding it anymore.
Really? Wow.
Bioengineered. They call it bioengineered
Oh
food.
yeah, bioengineered. I have seen that.
And yet, I still see store shelves where they're out of supply. People still want their Cheerios and they still want their Kellogg's, their cornflakes. They want all that because that's what they know.
Wow.
And so when you're saying goodbye to those things, particularly when you're not eating, you get to examine why it is you keep going back to them.
Yep, exactly.
The more you know, the more you get to make better choices.
Yeah. Get the consequences for those not so good choices quicker.
Yeah, and notice your recovery time when there is, quote, a flu season, or are the things that would normally take you out and cause you to feel sick and have to rest. Notice if your recovery time is quicker. And when I got the migraines, and before I started doing enemas, it would take me 8 hours to cycle through a migraine. And then I started doing urine enemas and snorting and doing all these practices. Then it went down from 6 hours to 4 hours to 2 hours, and in approximately 1 to 2 hours, I can knock it out and get back into action. But I still put my body into rest mode, so I don't push it.
Well, that's one of the things I was going to say about urine therapy too, is that I feel so much safer and protected now. I mean, it's amazing, and I told you that my whole family got COVID in December. Everybody got it in the house except for me. And I was only doing topical at that time. So, I mean, that tells me a lot. That tells me that, how it protects you, I mean, obviously,
It
and
protects you big time. Big time. This is why I
yeah, it does. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
See, you gotta know that you have the prevention, the cure inside you, and that you're bulletproof. I mean,
I know. I do feel like that now.
I have hotel clients and house call clients that have had 2 jabs, 3 boosters.
Oh God.
And I walk away from them with money in my pocket without any contamination.
So you're massaging them?
I'm massaging them. I'm working on their feet. And what they don't know is that I'm praying while I'm working on them. So my field is strong and my aura is protected.
Wow. That's awesome. So you feel protected. Yeah, I wasn't sure how I'd feel about that, about working on somebody that's had all the jabs.
There you
go.
Here's your kryptonite right here. There's your superpower.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The more you work with this, the more it makes sense to you, and the more your certainty and your confidence and your faith grows and grows.
It's true. Yeah.
And that's something you will integrate so that when people start throwing the thousands of questions at you, you'll be able to respond to them. And a lot of the responses that I give to people is, well, it's an intuitive medicine. What would you do? Without giving them the correct answer.
Yeah. I actually, I'm on a couple groups on Facebook, and one of them is a mitochondrial disease thing, and a man posted that he's dying of ALS. And I thought, you know what, why not, reach out and offer this to him, because he, literally thinks he's dying. And I said, read your own perfect medicine and look up these things. I said, this is, it costs nothing and it heals everything. And so why not try it? What do you have to lose?
Yeah, and Doc Mike cured someone of ALS in 3 days.
Is that right?
With urine therapy, and he also does different forms of body work.
Wow.
If you go and look at all the testimonials that are online or through Shirley's Wellness website, she's got a lot of testimonials. You can probably find one that you're looking for.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
There are no such things.
Sorry, whose testimonials?
Well, Shirley's Wellness Cafe is a website. She's been promoting all kinds of nutritional products for 35 years, and she's got a whole section, huge section on urine therapy.
Shirley's Wellness Cafe.
Shirley's Wellness Cafe. It's either .org or .com.
Shirley.
Shirley,
Okay.
Shirley. I've yet to be able to track her down and do an interview. I'm working on
When are you
Monica
gonna get
Shute.
Monica Shute? Yeah, I was going to say, when are you going to get Monica Shute?
We're
Pretty soon?
dialoguing back and forth, but we can't seem
Oh,
to
okay.
nail down the exact time. Now, she's in another country, which she doesn't want me to disclose, but there's probably an 8-hour difference.
And on the urine therapy side, Monica, whatever her name is, she has a different last name,
Changa,
posted something about putting a teaspoon of urine under your tongue, and that's more powerful than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And you hold it there for 15 minutes. It's more powerful than even drinking it. Is that true?
Well, I'm sure Megan can come in on this one, but you've got it going through the mucosa and into the saliva, and it's going to deliver it quickly into the bloodstream unless you do it rectally. So if you can hold it in your mouth, the longer you can hold it, the better. It's our version of coconut pulling.
Yeah, exactly what he just said. It's like when it's under the tongue, it's going into the bloodstream. That's why homeopathy goes under the tongue as well, because it goes faster into the bloodstream. So
yeah,
the two fastest ways are under the tongue and in the rectum to get it in the bloodstream quickly. And so if the choices are drinking a whole cup down quickly or holding a teaspoon underneath the tongue, you probably are going to get more out of it by holding a teaspoon under the tongue than drinking a cup of it into your stomach.
Okay.
I mean, in a sense, it depends on the person. It depends on the urine. It depends on the day. It depends on what you're absorbing. There's, again, all those pieces. But so many people say, what is, they usually say one. What is the one practice that I should do with urine? If I'm just going to do one, what should I do? And I kind of go, well, I don't think one is enough. I really don't. Because in combination, they're so amazing. But then I could pick two. I could say, if you're willing to full body rub and do the tiny busties, the little implants, that covers pretty much everything. If you like drinking it, the full body rubs and the drinking it, but it's really hard to pull back and say, don't do the body rubs.
I know, they're important. Yeah.
They are important. They're going to get all those organs.
Yeah. So
that's what protected me from COVID. I was only doing external at that time.
I mean, I think snorting up into the sinuses is also phenomenally important because of the blood-brain barrier, because of accessing the brain, because of clearing out the pineal gland. But it's like, if you had to pick two, if someone says, what are the two things? It's hard.
Ooh, it is hard.
And if you drink it, it doesn't necessarily go up the higher sinuses and up into the brain, but it goes down the throat.
Exactly.
It's the same when you're doing the implants and the enemas.
Yeah.
Different places it absorbs.
Yeah. But doing the tiny implant, doing a quick snort, those take so little time. The body rub, less than 10 minutes. So
less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm taking too long and then.
Well, if you're doing slowly rubbing, that's different than just dabbing it on.
Oh.
I mean, I take my fingers and I rub it in, but I do that until there's no moisture, and then I dip again and then I rub in. I can usually do like maybe 3 or 4 on my face, and I just keep going. And I can get the whole body done in 6 minutes if I'm fast.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So try that. Try holding the Urine in your mouth for 10 to 15 minutes. If nothing else, it's a great yoga for keeping you from talking so much.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. I found a post. I was just looking up something else and I found a post. I'm glad I did this. It was October of 2018 and I posted in the Philosopher's Stone urine therapy room that I'd just done my second day of full body aged urine rubs, my second aged day. And I would not have known what day that had been. And I'm really glad that I posted that in there, because now I know what the date was. I sort of in my head had a rough idea. I was off by about a month. But that's real. So I'm sort of pleased with former me, past me, for taking a little moment to post that. Yeah. And that's, so in that sense, it goes back to the take notes, because you're going to think, oh, this is no big deal. But later, when you look back and think, oh my goodness, that's how I felt about it, or that's what I thought about it, you're going to feel it's going to be really different.
Catherine, you froze.
Yeah.
Or is she meditating?
I think she's frozen.
She's meditating. She's gotten better looking over the last couple of weeks. Her skin looks like it's improved.
Yeah.
Welcome back. So I'll send you the Telegram link when I get a chance. When this is all said and done and it's uploaded and published, I'll send you the link to this class. And if anybody wants to stay in touch with me, you know how to reach me.
Great. Thank you very much for hosting.
Thank you. It's been amazing.
It has been amazing. Thank you. I'm so glad I did this. This has been probably one of the best, useful I've ever done. And thank you for like making it affordable too, Brother Sage, because it was
not cheaper than a university.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and just it's been really amazing to see how you have held it in such a clear but sort of light way, and bring in all your experience and just genuine care and light-heartedness, even though there's such depth and passion and focus. It's been really really lovely, like to feel the flow, but feel the flow between everybody. Yeah.
Well, if it inspired you to go deeper on your urine therapy journey, if it inspired you to put aside your considerations and start telling people, then I'm delighted.
Yep. That's the key word right there, inspiration. Yeah, that's what it's done.
Yeah, absolutely.
So be strong, drink your water.
Yeah.
Have a life you've always dreamt about.
Yeah.
Because we have something that is life changing, and I'm so glad that you made it to this journey.
Me too.
Yeah, I really am. It's definitely a life changer.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's have a hug. I'm gonna go.
All right.
Bye.
Yes.
See you on the golden thread.
Yep.
Yes, right. See you, Michelle and Megan. It was really nice to meet both of you.
Really lovely. Thank you.
You
too. I have a feeling we'll stay in touch with each other.
Yeah, definitely. Bye.
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 Bye for now.